midnight each day.
On Valentine's night.
Time as you know it freezes.
20 minutes past 10.
Keep up, Doctor.
Thinks we're going to smother her in her sleep.
I'm a grave digger, Doctor.
I was at home.
David is my husband.
All on my lonesome.
Stabbed him with a steak knife.
Nothing changes.
I'm a qualified angel of death.
When I'm dancing,
You get this day over and over.
Hilda.
I black out.
I don't think she's got long.
And Laurie just...
Naked on the beach.
Hannah.
Is that it for today?
Mariana is a special girl. You know, there's something about her that just makes you want to follow her. Maybe that's what a trendsetter looks like. I think Bryce has a lot of misdirected anger. I don't think I like him that much. You know, sometimes when things overrun, he's outside waiting for you, and he stares at me as if he's undressing me with his eyes. You know, he's not the first person that's done that, but still, you know, it feels worse coming from him. Yes, letters, parking tickets, holiday destinations. You know, I find those referral letters... He was sure there was a pattern in them. Claire seems to be shaken by something. You know, I offer her drinks every time she comes in, but she always refuses them. It's as if she just wants to come in, get her session over with, and then run off to do something else. It's a bit rude, isn't it? Elin seems like a lovely person. I'm not really sure why she's here. Oh, I just want to cuddle Nathan all up. He's such a mess. He's always in the same clothes. You know, he barely talks to me though. It's the same hello every time. He reminds me of Tom. Tom was a quiet mess, like Nathan. Youngish, in his early 20s. He taught piano, but he did have a strange hobby. Tom liked to base jump. That's basically falling from a huge building or mountain and pulling your parachute before you hit the ground. He started to think he could fly. Dr. Decker tried to talk him out of it, but Tom had to prove his point. So one day, Tom decided to base jump without a parachute. Can you guess what happened? He did die. He was hit by a rock from further up the mountain. He never got to fly. Nathan thinks he knows what his problem is too, but if he's not careful, he'll get hit by that rock. I wish I'd said goodbye. I wish I'd said goodbye to Dr. Decker. It was so sudden. You know, here, then gone. He resigned anyway, but that's not the same, is it? Dr. Decker resigned shortly before his murder. You know, it's sad, but doctors come and go and only poor Jaya remains. I've got his resignation letter somewhere. You know, I do all the hiring and firing around here. Well, Professor Alderby and the Trust technically do that. Professor Alderby is a trustee. Did I not mention that? So you watched the tapes. Ah, gold star for you. It smashed. Most of the patients are suspects, according to the police. Almost all the patients are referred, and some of them are privates, but Dr. Decker didn't introduce any of them. She was cuddling him like he was 6. He's 25.
Hello again, Doctor. I had a bit of a shaky loop incident, but let's not talk about it. Yesterday, I set fire to Hannah's clothes in the garden. I just wanted the day to move forward. I instantly regretted it. And lo and behold, here we are, a new day. Hannah's clothes a pile of ashes. I was at Henley Church on Valentine's Day, visiting Hannah's grave. It was the anniversary of her death. Her parents wanted a huge funeral with all the trimmings. Hannah would never have come for it. But it does give me somewhere to visit. I got to write the epitaph. We walk alone without our angel. I'm not religious, but when I wrote Hannah's epitaph, I knew her parents would want some acknowledgement of the great bearded one. But she was an angel to me. She was an angel to everyone. I left Henley Church about 11 o'clock on Valentine's Day. I was talking to an archaeologist who said they'd uncovered some fossils resembling a strange cephalopod-like creature. Strange place to find an octopus, really. What? Do you think I've got something to do with Dr. Decker's murder? Maybe you should ask your assistant who Decker saw that day. It was a missed call. It was Valentine's Day, so I wasn't in the mood for conversation. I've been alone since Hannah. I can't imagine anyone ever replacing her. Not that I've looked. Do you think I should look for someone else? Thanks, Doctor. I appreciate that. I still don't think I'm ready to move forward in that respect. Dr. Decker felt that Hannah was holding me back. The memories of Hannah. In his opinion, I was holding on to the past. So I guess he cursed me, if that's even a thing. I've kept almost all of her stuff, as she left it. It's just the clothes. I've decided to burn those yesterday, so here I am. Hannah loved clothes. Every season, she'd donate her entire wardrobe to some charity or another, and only buy stuff she loved. I was left with winter. I don't even know what her favourite season was. Does it matter? What's your favourite season, Doctor? If you like winter, you're supposed to be hard-working and analytical. I suppose that increases my chances of you curing my problem. I don't think winter was Hannah's favourite season. Not colourful enough. Yes, Dr. Decker cursed me. I don't really want to talk about it, but let's just say I blame him for the way I am. Can you give me some advice, Doctor? I've been trying to think how I can get past today. I've come up with a couple of choices. I could set fire to Hannah's photographs. I've got them in Dropbox anyway. But setting fire to the clothes did the trick. Or setting fire to a rocking chair. She sounds like an old lady, but she loved that rocking chair, which I've not sat in since. Which one do you think's best? Set fire to the rocking chair. I never like the way it moves forwards and backwards. Forwards and backwards. I like winter. Being snowed in with Hannah, just the two of us. It's paradise.
Wouldn't you like to know? Is our session up now? People are quick to put labels on everything. I suppose Dr. Decker was more than just a therapist to me. We had a lot of things in common, but we weren't seeing each other. I'm not seeing anyone at the moment. Are you offering, Doctor? It sounded like an offer to me, Doctor. Some girls say that they're washing their hair when they don't want to go out, but I was genuinely washing my hair. Do you think my hair is pretty, Doctor? Thanks for the honesty, I guess. Maybe I should stop asking you things. I'm insecure, Doctor. Isn't it obvious? I've danced around in my living room, but no clubs since last time. I like dancing around in my underwear. Sometimes less.
It was very traditional, old-fashioned, you know? Dinner at a nice restaurant. Then we went for a little walk along the pier. Held hands, had a bit of a kiss. Then he called a cab and I went home, alone. I think it was about 11 when I left Max. I'm sure you could check with the taxi company if you really wanted to, if you think I need an alibi. Of course, it was Terry that accused me of stealing. One of the other nurses, she's actually trying to make out that I'm some kind of HSK. Healthcare serial killer. You know, like those nurses that kill loads of their patients. I'm surprised you haven't heard of it. Anyway, because a few of my patients have died on me, and some of those patients have given me gifts, Terry thinks it means that I've been killing them off. Dr. Decker seemed fine on Valentine's Day. He seemed to be in a good mood. It didn't seem like anything was bothering him. I can sense it, you know? It's like when you're outside and there's a sudden change in the light or the air feels different and you know it's going to rain. It's like that. I always know when one of my patients is fading, even before the doctors know. Their energy changes. It sounds silly when I put it into words. I sound like my mum. His name is Max. He's really sweet, but I don't see a future between us. He's not really my type. I've known Max a couple of years, but this is the first time we've been on a date. I don't think he's boyfriend material.
Yes, I suppose I've destroyed a few things whilst in the hour. You can be the perfect supervillain. Nobody knows it was you. That wretched dig goes on 24/7. 25/7, if you ask me. Your patient, Nathan, caused quite a stir. He interrupted one of the female students all night, apparently. Made her miscategorize some findings, going on about his dead girlfriend. It's amazing what you hear at the coffee machine. Well, I suppose that's a bonus. We're allowed to use their coffee machine while they're there.
She's dead. Thanks for bringing that up. It's a sea creature, like an octopus. I suppose they find dinosaur bones everywhere. Just because we're on land now doesn't mean millions of years ago this place wasn't at the bottom of an ocean. She was interested. Maybe I misread. Maybe she was just being kind. I suppose most women wouldn't enjoy me talking about my dead ex for hours.
David Hunt,
I can change my skin.
then skins.
Dr. Decker dated his patients.
I had a hot date
We went out for drinks.
I took photos of Jessica.
Dr. Decker did
on
phone
Valentine's Day.
and ask me for Nathan's number.
There was a girl there.
Am I wrong to keep the locket?
I'm allowed to talk to her, aren't I?
He was preoccupied with finding
Photographs,
patterns.
rocking chair.
I haven't been back to the beach since,
I had a bit of a shaky loop incident.
where I find something
I set fire
beautiful in the sea.
to Hannah's clothes in the garden.
I dug the grave.
I wish I'd said goodbye.
Dr. Decker cursed me.
It didn't weigh enough to have a body in it.
It's crazy.
Doctor, you surprised me. Reminds me of Officer Yates. Did I ever mention I had a special friend in the police force? Nah, it's not something you drop politely into a conversation. He's been doing some digging and he's found a couple things. There's a crime scene report that goes into all the gory details and another report that's about a patient you're seeing today, Claire. I'll put them both on the desk for you. And thanks for the grief counselling, by the way. It's really been helping, you know, I'm so glad you're here.
Don't let me this. I got quarantine. They can't get me coronavirus.
I've been to the lake house regularly, keeping an eye on David. I saw the girl again, the one I told you about. She was playing outside.
Oh yeah?
It sounds to me as if Dr. Decker's murder was a spur-of-the-moment thing. If you were planning to kill someone, you'd bring a weapon with you, wouldn't you? I imagine that the paper spike made a very good weapon, though. It could look quite menacing, glinting in the moonlight. It makes for interesting reading, doesn't it? I can tell you're dying to ask me about it. Fire away. So quick to jump to conclusion, Doctor. Obviously, I meant sunlight. That's what it says. I can see you're confused. The police say that David is dead, fatally wounded when I stabbed him. The coroner says that David is dead. Everyone says that David is dead. There was even a funeral. But I know he's alive. He's buried at Henley Church. You can go see for yourself. There's even a headstone. One of your other patients was a pallbearer. I never forget her face. You should ask him. David wanted to have a talk about our relationship. Not something any married person wants to hear. He said he'd been with Iris for about a year and that he loved her. He said he didn't love me anymore. Which I know is a lie. You don't just fall out of love with somebody. I reacted badly. I grabbed the nearest weapon I could find, which happened to be the steak knife, and stabbed him with it. There was so much blood. I instantly regretted it. So I fixed him. It was about a week later. I brought David back to life. Not with voodoo, not with virginal sacrifice. I just willed it to happen, and it did. Dr. Decker told me it was possible, but only if you're not buried. He says once you're in the ground, there's no coming back. But until then, you have a chance at resurrection.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, resurrection. But now that I've seen the results, I don't think there's anything holy about it. I think reanimation is more an accurate term. Like, I'm an evil necromancer raising things from the dead. I think his brain was already decaying during the week that he was dead. important bits. So when I brought him back to life, I didn't heal him completely. Just gave him life in the state he was in. I mean, he's hunting and killing things and trying to roast them on fires he can only light with matches, but that's about it. He's your basic Neanderthal. So I have a problem. I'm being charged with murder because the police don't know he's still alive, and I can't get David to vouch for me for obvious reasons. I think it would raise quite a few more questions than answers, which is why I'm hoping that you would be able to help me.
These motherfuckers.
Considering the circumstances, I'd be grateful if you could see your way to declaring me temporarily insane at the time of the murder, to lessen my sentence. Because I'm not a killer, but I can't prove otherwise. You don't still think I'm a killer, do you, Doctor?
Well, I mean, you killed him. Okay.
It's true then. I'd heard Dr. Decker was stabbed, but I didn't know for sure. It's weird that whoever did it would choose the paper spike. Dr. Decker used to play with it in our sessions sometimes. You know, pick it up, handle it while we talked. I remember once, he pushed the spike through his skin. At this bit, here, between his thumb and his finger. He said he didn't think I'd mind the sight of blood, being a nurse and all that, but actually, there wasn't any. I was a bit freaked out. At first, I thought it was a trick. A magic trick, you know? Like some kind of therapeutic test. Show the patient this retractable spike and see how they react. But it wasn't. The spike was real. Dr. Decker gave me the paper spike to try. It wasn't fake. It was pretty sharp, actually. I don't know how he did it. He said he just thought that it wouldn't hurt him, so it didn't. I'm fine. Works fine. Hilda's fading fast. Terry's Terry. Oh, you'd be pleased to know I don't have the locket anymore. I gave it back. All of it. Every single keepsake. You told me to. Well, not in so many words, but you said I shouldn't have kept them. And what with Terry going around telling everyone I stole them, I didn't feel like I really had any choice. The lockets, the watch, the ring. But I kept the little bird Sarah Decker gave me. I wasn't supposed to mention her. Dr. Decker's mother. She was one of my first patients, but she died a while ago. Terry seems to have backed down since I gave the keepsakes back. Actually, it doesn't seem like she's been very well. Not her usual self. Maybe she's got a bug or something. Hilda's nearing the end. She's been sleeping a lot, not eating much. She hasn't been that argumentative either. Although, she did give me a vicious scratch yesterday. It was nothing. I was just trying to give her meds. It's hard, you know. I'm trying to help her, but she keeps fighting me. It'll be better after she's seen her daughter. I've decided I'm going to do it tonight. She hasn't got much time left. You know the answer to that, Doctor. What have we been talking about? What can I do for Hilda that will make it all better? That's the plan. I know, it sounds unbelievable, like I'm making it up. I wish I could prove it to you somehow. We could try shifting now. Think of someone you really love. It might help if you close your eyes. Are you thinking of them? Can you picture them? Okay, hold on. Oh, sorry. I don't think it's gonna work.
I was trying to fucking do it,
Right side,
stupid hoe.
that probably means you're not gonna die anytime soon. It's tricky. I mean, I'll sound exactly like Hilda's daughter, but I try and keep it vague because I don't become her. I don't know what she would really say. I say things like, it's okay, don't be scared, I love you, Mum, or I love you, Dad. But it doesn't really matter what their relationship's like because it's not really them. I always do the Disney version. The best, most loving version. That's what my patients want to hear. And maybe deep down they know it's not the truth, but it's got to be better than the reality. Does it really matter if it isn't the truth? Isn't it worth it if it brings them peace? Tell me honestly, Doctor, do you really think that what I'm doing is wrong? So you're saying I should let Hilda die without seeing her daughter one last time? Good, because I really feel this is something I have to do.
No.
Like it's my calling or something.
Whatever.
It just makes things complicated, doesn't it? I knew Dr. Decker's mother before I started seeing Dr. Decker. She's dead, and now he's dead. I'm sure you're going to have a field day with it.
Don't make this harder on me than it really should be. I'm gonna go to somebody else.
Dr. Decker used to put my checks on that thing. I guess someone thought they weren't getting value for money.
What?
I actually don't have a lot of money. Sometimes a therapy check would bounce, but Dr. Decker would be okay with it. Oh, my checks are fine though, don't worry.
Bitch, I don't work for free.
I've had no blackouts, and I haven't been to the beach since our last session. But I think I will today. Do you want to come with me to the beach? I'm not broke. Men buy me drinks at bars, though. Sometimes I'll get away with not paying at restaurants. Isn't that how it is for everybody? I mainly like drive-thrus. I don't like crowds, and I find it difficult to stay in the same place for too long. I guess I'm a fidget.
I'm gonna shut your stupid ass up.
Crowds at nightclubs and bars are different. The lights are dim. You can slink around without attracting too much attention.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'll kiss a guy in a club, and then he just follows me wherever I go. It's creepy. I don't want everyone seeing that. Doctor, I think you're getting a little anxious. If you ever wanted to visit the beach, you can just turn up. It's not mine. They follow me wherever I go. Anywhere. Where do you think they follow me, Doctor? It depends where they follow me. If they follow me home, they bang on the door for an hour or so, then leave. Other places, they just disappear. I don't see them again. Well, they don't just disappear into thin air. I think they return to the place I found them. But I've not run into the same person twice. I'm okay. Thanks for asking. It's rent day, and I always feel a little blue on rent day.
Same.
Rent day is the day I pay rent to my landlady.
Yeah, sure.
You've got a good memory, Doctor. Let's talk dreams. Sometimes I'll dream about a light, deep in the ocean somewhere. I head towards it because it's warm and glowing, like a beacon. And when I'm at the bottom, it's the most beautiful thing. Like a welcoming sun. Like I'm home. And then I wake up. It's so beautiful. It calls me. It's like I'm in a trance. What does the dream mean, Doctor?
You're gonna die. Hey, you're gonna die.
I guess. I hate being in the same place for too long. Maybe I'm always searching for paradise or something.
Alright.
I burned Hannah's rocking chair. The day moved forward. It was a good choice. I'm not sure I've got much left of hers now. I've burnt most of it, or given it away, just to make the days move forward. There was a moment when I was attacking a Salvation Army bin, but I gave in. I accidentally put Hannah's diary into a Salvation Army donation bin. They're like huge post boxes with a circular tray that makes sure things spill to the bottom. I tried to get in to get it back, but I gave up. I didn't notice Dr. Decker had a paper spike. I haven't really seen more than a foot in front of me since Hannah died. I read the last few weeks of Hannah's diary a while ago. I must have accidentally dropped in some clothes for the Salvation Army bin. It's funny, because I wasn't going to read it. She said she'd fallen out of love with me. That she was going to break off the engagement. That she didn't love me anymore. I regretted it. I regretted that I mourned for Hannah so long. I regret the grief. I regret all the days I slept through because of it. Had I known she didn't love me anymore, things would have been different. I'm a bit angry now. If I had that day over again, I may just still pull out in front of the driver. I've told you all I know about Dr. Decker. He started out good, then turned a bit crazy towards the end. When you start giving people more problems as a therapist, that's a bit crazy.
Yeah, I think he's giving me.
I started out with depression. Now I seem to repeat days. Even if you don't believe the repeat days, then I clearly have extra mental health problems that he's given me.
Professor Warwick, I'm a physicist. Where's Dr. Decker?
I think if you come here, you obviously know.
Is he really? Actually dead? Not a worthy adversary after all, then? Dr. Decker challenged me. He tried to use my theories against me. Quantum theories. Do you really want to know? Decker's eyes used to glaze over whenever we talked about that. He didn't believe in quantum physics. As if it's something that you can optionally believe in. Well, it started with an experiment. Have you heard of quantum suicide, Doctor? Quantum suicide is a thought experiment that tries to explain the many worlds theory. You're looking at me blankly. I can see that you don't understand. I knew you wouldn't. Alternate universes. Essentially, if I were to shoot myself, then in some alternate universe, I'd still be alive. Now imagine if I could actually choose that universe. I'm taking a product off a supermarket shelf. Well, I simply applied that logic to something different. Gambling. I set up an experiment whereby I would visit a casino and place a very large bet at a roulette table. Now, I would always bet on odd. Now, the results of this particular experiment were mundane. I won as many times as you would expect according to the laws of probability. But then, I changed a parameter. Quantum suicide required a loss of life to make it a realistic thought experiment. So I simply upped the stakes. Now, every time I bet on odd, I would place everything I had on that one spin of the wheel, and it worked for a while. Dr. Decker killed it, and I can't get it back. Well, my theory, quantum gambling. If the stakes are high enough, you will win every time by simply shifting your consciousness into that branch that wins. It's tricky, but it can be done. Dr. Decker didn't like that. He saw me becoming rich and powerful, and he hated that. That's why he proffered the hangman's paradox. Honestly? Well, I think he feared quantum physics. He didn't like things being explained in terms of science, almost as if he'd have preferred chaos. Well, imagine a judge sentences you to death. Now, it will be Monday or Tuesday next week, but it will be a surprise. Well, which day do you think you'll be executed? Well, it can't be Tuesday, because if you're still alive on Monday at midnight, then you know you'll be executed on Tuesday, so it won't be a surprise. Conversely, it can't be Monday either, because, well, you'll be expecting it to be Monday by deduction. Hence, a paradox. Dr. Decker tricked me. He told me that sometime in the future I would lose a bet, that I would lose all of my money. Now, this didn't seem likely because I had quantum gambling on my side and it was working. But he unnerved me. He made me doubt myself. And then it happened. Recently, I lost everything that I'd managed to build up since Vanessa left me.
I'm fine. I'm ready for my grief counselling. I emailed you Mariana's address. I don't know why you'd want it. I suppose you're going to start doing home visits now, like Dr. Decker? Yes, Dr. Decker started doing home visits for Mariana. He said she couldn't concentrate properly in his office. I hope you're not thinking of doing the same thing. I need you right where I can see you. Doctor, if you don't want it, don't text me and ask for it. It's all right. I don't mind doing menial tasks for you. Someone has to do them. Checks and balances, Doctor. Somebody needs to be watching the watchman, so to speak. Make sure you're helping, not hindering. He probably did his fair share of helping and hindering. He was definitely helping in the beginning, but then seemed to lose sight of things. Grief is such a strange word if you keep saying it. Grief, grief, grief. It sounds like somebody's being whipped. And you're going to ask me how I feel today?
Already did, you dumb bitch.
It's in that police report that I gave to you. You should really take a look at it. I think he was so overwhelmed by the patients he was getting. His curiosity just got the better of him. There was a definite turning point. I think that's all settled now. We are agreeing to pay Ben £5,000 and he's agreeing not to say anything about what he saw. He thought he saw a creature coming out of Dr. Decker's mouth. Well, at least that's the reason he's given for not emptying the bins that night. Either way, it's not the kind of publicity that we need. Shiny, happy, sane people. Somewhere around the time Professor Alderby turned up, that seemed to unsettle him. And then we had a flood of extra weird patients. I think it was all too much for him. I think I misjudged him. I hope you deal with it better. Some mornings I come into work and still expect him to be here. Sometimes it feels like he actually is here, watching over me. We had a connection. It's gone now, though. You can't have a connection with the dead, can you? Not for too long, anyway. Dr. Decker asked me to have dinner with him for Valentine's. I refused, obviously, because you don't sleep where you eat or something like that. But it was flattering, especially with competition like Mariana around. Sorry, I didn't mean I was competing. I was happy Mariana was going out with him. I didn't want to be romantic with him. We had a stronger connection than that. Dr. Decker and I shared some philosophy. We'd both read The Cult of the Kinetic Mind, and we agreed with a lot of what it said. Have you read that book, Doctor? I was at home on my lonesome, Doctor, like I said before. In Cult of the Kinetic Mind, the author suggests that everyone is capable of psychokinesis and that the cult leaders specifically had these powers that turned their followers into disciples. It's not a fun read, but if you're into psychology, it's a blast. No, not at all in my experience. Dr. Decker had an unusual number of patients who claimed psychokinesis. Either he'd been specifically looking for them or someone had been sending them.
I think they possibly cursed other people, a bit like he cursed me. Sometimes you could see he was bursting to tell me about it, but he couldn't. He was ecstatic with power. Ah, the curse. Well remembered. I was hoping he'd forget. It's going to sound crazy. Dr. Decker said I would never be able to move forward until I came to terms with my grief. And so from this point on, I start to relive the same day over and over again until I made something of it. I believed him. I didn't want to believe him. I remember I said, you can't just say things and they happen. He laughed and laughed. I think he was going mad. He said he'd give me a demonstration.